All right, today we're going to break down a pretty big piece of legislation that could really change how you use your phone, the internet, and even your TV. We're talking about the National Communications Authority Bill for 2025. So let's jump right in.
You know that moment when your video call freezes, or you're wondering about the quality of your TV signal, or even why your data plan costs what it does? All of that is governed by a set of rules. But who actually writes the rule book?
Well, it turns out there's a new bill on the table, and it's proposing a powerful new referee for the entire industry. You can think of it as the ultimate watchdog for everything from your mobile data to broadcast news.
So here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll look at what this new watchdog is all about. Then, we'll break down its mission, meet the people on the governing board, see how they're kept in check, and finally, wrap it all up with why this really matters to you.
First up, a new communications watchdog. Now, this isn't coming out of nowhere. This bill is actually meant to replace a law from way back in 2008. And I mean, just think about how much has changed since then. The world of streaming, 5G, social media, none of that existed in the same way. So yeah, the rulebook is long overdue for an update.
So what is this National Communications Authority, or NCA? Well, the bill sets it up as an independent body. That's key. It means its entire job is to regulate the whole communications sector. We're talking everything from airwaves to service providers without being under the thumb of any single person or government entity.
Okay, so we know what it is, but what is this new watchdog actually supposed to do? What's its core mission day in and day out?
To get that, we need to understand the playing field. The bill uses this term, the communication ecosystem. Sounds a bit technical, right? But really, all it means is, well, everything. It's the whole network of companies, technology, and information that all works together to bring services to your phone and your screen. This slide really lays out the big picture. According to the bill, the authority has 4 main goals: making sure we all get quality service, promoting fair competition so we have choices, managing those crucial national resources like airwaves, and making sure all of this actually helps the country develop.
So how are they going to pull all that off? Well, this is their toolkit. They'll be the ones granting and keeping an eye on licenses, setting quality standards, and stepping in to resolve fights between you and your provider. They're also there to protect consumer interests, investigate when rules get broken, and advise the government on policy.
So we know what they do. But who exactly is they? Let's meet the people who will actually be in charge of this powerful watchdog, the governing board.
The bill lays out the board as a mix of government oversight and real expert knowledge. You've got a chairperson who's appointed by the president, the director general who runs the daily operations, people from national security and media bodies, and 4 other experts from fields like law and communications.
And here's something really specific in the bill about inclusion. It actually mandates that at least 2 members of this governing board must be women. So they're building a measure of gender diversity right into the leadership structure from the get-go. And there's a very clear separation of duties here. The board is there for the big picture stuff, strategic direction and oversight. The Director General, on the other hand, is the one who handles the day-to-day administration, making sure the board's vision actually happens.
So how do we make sure these board members act responsibly? The bill uses this legal phrase, fiduciary relationship. It sounds complicated, but it's super important. All it really means is that they have a legal duty to put the authority's interest first, way ahead of any of their own personal or financial interests.
That idea of acting in the public interest leads us perfectly into our next section, keeping the authority in check. I mean, with all this power, what's built into the bill to make sure this group actually serves the public?
Is really the fundamental question of governance, isn't it? How do you give an organization enough power to do its job effectively, but also make sure that power doesn't get abused?
While this bill has some seriously sharp teeth here, just look at this table. If a board member has a personal stake in a decision, they have to declare it, and they're out of that discussion. Simple. But if they fail to disclose it or participate anyway, the consequences are severe. We're talking immediate removal from the board, and they have to pay back any benefit they gained.
And the transparency doesn't stop there. The bill also calls for a register of interests. This is basically a public log of the financial interests of every single board member. And the best part? This isn't some secret file. It has to be accessible to you, the public, both as a physical document and online.
Okay, but what about the money? The bill creates a really clear chain of financial accountability. The authority's books have to be audited every single year by the Auditor General. That audit gets bundled into an annual report for the minister, who then has to present that report to Parliament. So you've got multiple layers of oversight.
All right, we've gone through the structure, the mission, and the checks and balances. So let's bring it all home in our final section. Why does any of this actually matter to you?
So what's the bottom line here? Well, if this bill works as intended, it should mean clearer rules and higher standards for your service providers. It should mean stronger consumer protection and a real place to go when you have a problem. It also promises more transparency and a focus on quality, value for money, and your right to choose. And on top of that, it says the needs of persons with disabilities, the elderly, and low-income earners have to be taken into account.
Ultimately, this bill creates a whole new framework. It's putting a new referee on the field for the entire communications industry. But the final question is still out there. Will the players, both the regulators and the companies, use these new rules to deliver a genuinely better, fairer, and more reliable service for all of us? Because that's the test that really matters.